We come bearing a message for Andrew Yang. We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. We are anonymous. And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back. So I was actually working on a separate video, and then I happened to stumble across this, and it's breaking news. It's incredible, and I thought I'd bring it to you guys. If you're not familiar with Anonymous, you will be after this video. Well, pretty much Anonymous has come out in favor of Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard, but more specifically Andrew Yang. If you don't know who Anonymous is a decentralized hacktivist group, so to speak, and they're known for their cyber attacks. And I mean, they've attacked, several government institutions, government agencies, corporations, and of course, the Church of Scientology. Anonymous originated in 2003 on the image board 4chan. Pretty sure you all are familiar with 4chan. And you can tell who Anonymous is usually by their avatar, which is a Guy Fawkes mask. That's sort of become their symbol. It's that, and then there's like a corporate guy in a suit with a question mark. That's another one of the symbols they use. But they're usually looked at as you either love them or hate them. They've done some really good things, in my opinion. And, some would say they've done some shady things in their opinion. So I don't know if you'd call them white hat hackers. I don't know. They're in a gray area. But usually when I see something from Anonymous, I like it. And so they've come out in support of Andrew Yang and really called out the BS that's going on in this current Democratic run. So they've actually dropped a video. We're going to watch that video, and we're going to come back.
Greetings, citizens of the United States of America. This is a message from one of the Anonymous about the upcoming election that your country is facing. Election time is quickly approaching once again in the United States, and as usual, it is a complete circus. The county is facing a large number of monumental problems and has been for some time, but many of these important topics are off limits for many of the mainstream candidates that want to maintain electability. The massive military budget and senseless overseas conquests that the US government has been involved in for decades, along with the rampant government corruption back home, have completely destroyed the economy of the country, as well as its standing with the world. In the campaigns thus far, Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang were the only candidates that had the sense and the courage to speak up on this issue and give it the attention it deserves. Bernie Sanders has given some attention to the problem of empire, but he also still believes that the United States should be fighting terrorism overseas, and he seems to be willing to compromise with the military-industrial complex on foreign policy matters. At this point, it appears that Tulsi Gabbard will be out of the race after being unable to qualify for the most recent debates, and it seems that Bernie Sanders could be a front-runner for the Democratic Party, unless the media is able to prop up Joe Biden throughout 2020, which is highly unlikely. Andrew Yang has managed to stay in the presidential race, despite the fact that he has been ignored by the media and painted as a fringe candidate since the campaigns began. Yang has managed to stay in the race thanks to his cult-like following, who sometimes refer to themselves as the Yang Gang. Yang is most popular for his advocated policy of universal basic income, which is a monthly stipend that citizens would receive from the government to help them with the basic expenses of living. However, as mentioned above, he has also shown support for ending wars and scaling back the military budget. He has also advocated for drug decriminalization, which would save many innocent people from jail and reduce the number of deadly doses that are circulating on the black market. Yang's universal basic income proposal is a radical break from the reliance on social programs touted by other candidates in the Democratic Party, which makes his policies a bit different than his counterparts. While candidates like Sanders and Warren are pushing for tax money to be spent on social programs to uplift the poor, Yang suggests putting the money directly into their pockets, instead of forcing them to jump through bureaucratic hoops for a chance at the basic services that would be affordable, and at a better quality, if they had a few extra dollars in their accounts every month. Unlike most of the other Democratic candidates, Yang does not come from a political background, but was an entrepreneur before his recent jump into politics. However, as we have seen with Trump in 2016, not having a history in politics does not necessarily rule a candidate out as a serious contender in the race. For many of us, Andrew Yang is a breath of fresh air, and we are looking forward to seeing how he does, and what he does if he manages to get into office. However, we must not put too much faith in the political system overall. There is only so much that one person can do with the presidency. In fact, the US political system is designed in a way that makes it intentionally difficult for one person to make any major changes to the establishment. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
So this was pretty interesting to me. This was pretty interesting. And when the media picks it up, I'm sure they're going to have varying degrees of how they feel about it. I guarantee some in mainstream media are going to absolutely hate it. There's going to be some, especially in independent media, that's going to be on board with it. But I didn't see this coming. I really didn't see this coming. But the bigger picture is what they said is absolutely true. What they said in that video is true. It's really hard to argue against. Bernie is, soaring forward, and there's a very high chance he could get the nomination. He just had, incredible fundraising numbers, as did Yang, and I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. But, they weren't necessarily against Bernie Sanders, but they didn't like his overseas rhetoric and how he looked at war, and that's a really good criticism you can give Bernie. I don't think Bernie has too many criticisms, despite what people may think, but that is one of them. They gave Tulsi Gabbard a lot of praise, and I always keep saying Tulsi Gabbard should be farther along in this race than she is, and they totally buried her. They cut her off by the heels, and essentially, it's going to be only a matter of time before she drops out. And I love Tulsi Gabbard. I am a Tulsi fan. But, it's very, 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 very slim chance anything happens with her from here on. At this point, I'm hoping she gets, a VP position of sorts. Unlike Yang, who, wherever they doubt him, continues to push forward and break barriers and blow expectations. He's overperformed. I said this on Russell's live stream. I've said this before in my own videos. Yang continuously overperforms. A lot of people thought he was going to hit $12 million for fundraising. He blew that out of the water, right? This time around, he got more fundraising than Joe Biden did last quarter. So Yang is, plowing forward, and it's clear and obvious that Anonymous would like him to be the Democratic candidate, as would I. But yeah, this was just fascinating. I didn't expect to see this. I don't think any of us expected to see this. But yeah, they're an interesting group, and they've got a pretty solid resume. Look, they've gone after, I got a list here. They've gone after, obviously, agencies in the U.S., Israel, Uganda, the Islamic State of Iraq. They've gone after copyright protection agencies, the Westboro Baptist Church. They've gone after sites that hurt children. They've gone after big corporations such as PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, and Sony. They've publicly supported WikiLeaks and the Occupy movement. They've always been into politics, so maybe I shouldn't be shocked that they're in. I know they've spoken about Donald Trump and his presidency at some point. As a matter of fact, the last thing I had read about Anonymous is at one point the group was kind of split, or they were having turmoil in it because some of the Anonymous group supported Donald Trump and they liked how he was gonna sort of bust up the status quo. But then other members of Anonymous was like, yeah, but he's freaking horrible. He's a horrible president. He's a horrible person. And so there was some inner turmoil, and it kind of divided the group. But it looks like things are back on track for the most part, especially because of Andrew Yang. And look, Yang gets both Dems and Republicans. He's got that crossover vote. And it's clear that they support him. So, yeah, I just decided to bring this to you guys. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on what Anonymous had to say about Andrew Yang and about Tulsi, for that matter, and about Bernie? Let me know in the comment section below. Before we close out, I have even more information on, there's some, obscure chance that people watching don't know who Anonymous is. They've commented on the shooting of Tamir Rice, because on November 24th, 2014, Anonymous shut down the Cleveland City website and posted a video after Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old boy armed with only a BB gun, was shot to death by a police officer in Cleveland Park. They've got involved with Michael Brown. In the wake of the fatal police shooting of an unnamed African-American, Michael Brown, in Ferguson, Missouri, Operation Ferguson, a hacktivist organization claimed to be with Anonymous, organized cyber protests against police. They've gone after the KKK many, many times. So, look, if you're a minority and you're watching this and you happen to be on the fence about Anonymous, just know when it comes to things like that, they're usually on the correct side. Literally had a cyber war with the Ku Klux Klan, which is very interesting. Again, they're an interesting group. And as somebody who studied HTML and web building from scratch, like IMG, SRC equals, before there was even templates and like little bloggers to, do half the shit for you. And you had to have a notepad with all the information on it. Yes, I used to build websites. And things along those lines. And I know about like brute force and things like that. The fact that they do what they do and the way they do it has always fascinated me. They're incredibly, incredibly smart, obviously. So, yeah. Look up information on Anonymous before you judge if this is a good thing or a bad thing, if you haven't already heard of them. So if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. Also, I have a PayPal, a Cash App, and a Venmo link in the description below. Please feel free to donate to the channel. Every little bit helps. They're constantly shutting independent media down. So your donations help keep this channel going. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.